jumping on with awesome looking hair before bed, just to share a really... I've been with my kids today for a chunk of the day since school pickup. Both of them. It's been wonderful. And they're such great teachers. Our children are our greatest teachers. And I was away from my bedroom, and I had my mattress propped up against the wall, and the kids had made a tunnel underneath it. No children were harmed in the unfolding of this story, and it slid down, and my almost 4-year-old was underneath it, and he was fine. He's hardy. It's a mattress, not the bed. And I came in. I was out of the room, but I came in and lifted it. And the first thing he did was look at me and was like, "Mom!" Like it was my fault, right? It was my fault that this had happened. And it was just such a beautiful moment, because I just sat with him, and he was absolutely fine. I was like, what is it, honey? He was like, "You weren't here." Or what? I don't even think he said that. I can't even remember what he said, to be honest. And he wasn't crying or anything. There was that blame, that instant, blame out the way for something that had just happened. And I just think that's such a beautiful example of what we do. It's what we do. It's what people do. Something happens. You make a choice. Now, I wasn't encouraging the playing around this mattress. I was encouraging getting ready for bed. And they made I don't think that's a good idea, and they made their choices around that. And I'm like emphasizing the setup of the fact that they were safe, everything was fine. Yeah, make a choice. Our choices have consequences, and then when those consequences don't go the way that we're necessarily expecting, and it's not that he was doing anything wrong, it wasn't anything bad, nothing bad really happened, and yet, Mum, it's my fault. When really there wasn't any fault, there was just an action and a consequence. And yeah, I just thought that was a really profound moment. And he saw it too, that it wasn't anything to do with me. He kind of got there, but it's just, I find it really interesting that this starts really early on, this delegation of responsibility outside of ourselves. I don't know if it's a cultural thing or a generational thing, and I only say that because I'm from a yoga background, and I found out in my study, I don't speak Sanskrit, but my yoga teacher had studied it and spoke it. And in Sanskrit, which is the language of yoga, it's a vibrational language where the essence of the word is in the sound of the word. So it's like there's one word for something. It's not like we've got, I'm looking at my dog right now, so we've got a dog, we've got a doggy, we've got a pooch. lots of different ways to express dog. Whereas in Sanskrit, it's just Svanasana. I can't speak. Svanasana is dog. That's it. And in Sanskrit, this ancient vibrational language, there's no word for blame. There's no word for it. For other being responsible for what's going on in here. And that's yoga, folks. Ultimate responsibility, ultimate freedom, ultimate liberation. And it seems like blame is quite a natural part of our being these days. My 4-year-old had absolute blame for me, and then didn't, and then it was all good and it was all fine. So do you do this? Are things happening? Are there consequences to your choices and your actions that you, without meaning to, without consciousness, without awareness, you're deflecting out onto another and giving all your power away? Because when you're deflecting it onto someone else, when it becomes someone else's fault, when someone else's behaviour is the basis for your feeling, the basis for your pain, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. You can also not blame. You can take responsibility for your feelings. A theme's coming up here, isn't there, in these videos at the moment? But it's just true that when we can really take ownership, and in a way that's compassionate and understanding, then yoga, union, freedom, independence, dependence inward, confidence. It's just limitless. The peace and the joy and the keep coming back to freedom. It is quite late, and this has gone on time-wise a bit longer than I had necessarily intended to. So if you're still with me on my pre-bed ramble, then thank you for joining me. I hope this has been useful. And yeah, if any part of this speaks to you in any way, then I'd love to hear in the comments down below, or reach out and let's talk. Loving you. Good night.